Alright, hello everybody, my name is Jason, and now we are all college students, minus the professor, we are all college students, so how does free college tuition sound? Free money, sounds great, right? Actually, no. The proposition I'm making today is that universal access to free college tuition in the United States would actually decrease economic growth. Now I'll be supporting this proposition with three main points. Point number one being an increase in required tax revenue would stagnate the economy. Point number two, tuition costs rise when government subsidies increase. And point number three, the economic return value associated with a college degree does not warrant free college tuition. Now, just to clarify a few things, I'm not claiming that there's not a problem with the current financial system. According to Student Debt Relief in 2018, borrowers now owe a cumulative $1.52 trillion of student loan debt. So obviously there is a problem, but the controversy lies in how we would resolve this issue. So, on to point number one. An increase in required tax revenue would stagnate the economy. So basically this, as we all know, free never really truly means free. And to pay for free college tuition, it's estimated, according to the College for All Act in 2018, that total tuition at public colleges and universities amount to about $70 billion per year. This is an estimated cost. I've seen costs lower, I've seen costs higher, but generally speaking, most sources agree that it will cost $70 billion per year. Just think of that for a second. $70 billion. I don't remember the last time I had $70 in my pocket, let alone $70 billion. So, why is this bad? Well, in order to pay for this, taxes would likely have to raise. And when taxes raise, consumer spending decreases. According to Tej von Pettinger in 2017, an experienced economist, lower income tax rates increase the spending power of consumers and can increase aggregate demand, leading to higher economic growth. This can be said vice versa. When there are high taxes, consumer spending will decrease. This is particularly bad because, according to the Tax Foundation in 2012, a tax federal revenue increase of 1% of GDP leads to a fall in output of about 3%. So when taxes rise just by 1%, GDP falls by 3%. This is very bad for the economy, specifically because we are in a major federal deficit. What is a deficit? A deficit means that the government is spending more than they are taking in. According to the Office of Macroeconomic Analysis Treasury, federal receipts totaled $3.33 trillion in 2018, declining from 17.2% of GDP in 2017. This means that the amount of revenue the government is receiving has lowered significantly in the past few years, and we are now in a deficit, according to the Treasury, of about $779 billion at the end of the fiscal year for 2018. So why is this bad? Well, that means the government is spending a lot more than they are taking in, which is ultimately very bad for the economy. And if we are spending an extra $70 billion on free college tuition, this will only increase the deficit and prices will rage, and the bond market will likely crash, and the economy will be stagnated. So, on to point number two. Tuition costs rise when government subsidies increase. This point is incredibly interesting, and it's based on a study done by the Federal Reserve Bank of New York in 2017. They found a pass-through effect on tuition changes and subsidized loan maximums of about 60 cents on the dollar. Basically saying when federal subsidies increase, tuition prices also increase by about 60%. So when the government was funding student aid, basically tuition's costs rose for multiple reasons. This is likely probably because due to increased enrollment rates. So if the government is funding more students for their college aid, enrollments will likely increase. And according to Cornerstone University in 2018, a 4-year in-state school will see an increase from 39,400 to 94,000. And community and private institutes will rise from 77,400 to 186,400 for that degree in less than 20 years. So in less than 20 years, tuition prices will likely double, whether we like it or not. So if the government is funding free college tuition, enrollment rates will likely increase, and prices and tuition prices will also increase as well. Also, if the government is funding free college tuition, this doesn't account for living expenses, which is the majority of student debt anyways. According to College Board 2017, tuition fees constitute 39% of the total budget for in-state students living on campus at public four universities, and 20% of the budget for public two-year college students pay for off-campus housing. So living expenses constitute the majority of student debt, so funding free tuition would not help this. On point number 3, the economic return value associated with a college degree does not warrant free college tuition. So, if the government is investing so much money into free college, there has to be a return value associated with this. However, currently, 83% of graduating seniors said they didn't have a job lined up as April 2014, according to After College 2014. This means that many seniors don't even have a job lined up, regardless of whether they had a degree. Also, free education is not necessary to provide a strong workforce. Countries like the US, Canada, South Korea, and Japan are some of the highest economies in the world, according to top 10 world's biggest economies focus. So all this to say that my proposition is universal access to free college tuition in the United States would actually decrease economic growth. Thank you.
Okay, the structural stuff at the beginning of the speech is quite clear. Proposition is fine. The contents are laid out for us. In the body of the speech, you signpost those points as you get to them. I thought you did a pretty good job there. The first point has the most development. There's a whole bunch of series of minor claims that you're developing here, each of which gets some individual evidence that I thought you did a pretty good job explaining. There's some interesting statistical correlations that you were giving us about the impact of increased taxes on the economy and, what the impact would be on growth. And so I think that that's an effective way of going after that. And then there's also information about the deficit. Although when you start talking about our current deficit being almost, it's $779 billion, and you say, well, what's another $70 billion between friends? I think people might start to argue that that really isn't going to be as significant an impact as you're suggesting it's going to be. On the second point, the notion that the costs are going to increase, you had some good information that suggests that the costs are going to increase regardless of what happens. And then I think if you reversed that information, if you'd started with that and then put your information about how subsidizing actually results in an acceleration in tuition costs, that would make a little bit more sense. As it is, the way you've ordered the evidence there makes the second one sounds like it's undermining the first point. If it's going to happen anyway, why are we worried about it? You want it to go the other direction. It's going to happen, and this is going to make it worse. I think that would make it a more effective argument. And then, at the end, when you're talking about a return on our investment, basically it comes down to the lack of jobs that seniors in college have lined up when they graduate. That doesn't necessarily tell us how long they don't have a job or whether or not that is a permanent situation. So I think you're making a big inference there, and you kind of ran out of time, so you're just, that argument doesn't get developed as much as it needs to be. All right, thank you.